the one and only DNVR. Two goes out to Zach, Mace, RK, and the bar. Three for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number four we're still waiting for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Coupled with Breck, Brew, and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A, a classic RK and Zach week here, throwing it back to the olden days here on the podcast. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes, live from Studio A. The A stands for...
Alternative?
Ah, nice. I love that. The A stands for alternative, as in alternative method for building a coaching staff. And that is what Nathaniel Hackett is using. I have yet to process my feelings about this. So I'm using today as like a therapy session.
Good.
It's me, it's you, it's the people.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of hash this out. I have a lot of feelings I need to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping by the end of our discussion, I can have an opinion one way or the other on how I feel about this coaching staff. But first, I want to tell you about our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver Online, msudenver.edu/online, where you can go to scope out all they have to offer. And boy, do they have a lot to offer. 750 total classes, 45 plus online and hybrid programs are something for everyone over at MSU Denver Online.
My boy, Ryan, what is up? Pumped to be doing this 1-2 podcast. And like you said, Nathaniel Hackett is going about building this coaching staff a very different way than typically NFL teams do, and the complete opposite way that Vic Fangio built his staff. The Broncos couldn't be doing a more 180 from last coaching staff to this coaching staff. And on the surface, I say, good. Great.
Yeah.
I love it. And like James in the comment section says, excited and worried at the same damn time about this coaching staff. And you know what? You had the mixed emotions now. You're still not sure which way. Right before the show, super producer Kale and I were talking, and I said, I think I've flipped in how I feel about this. And we may not agree about this. Let's walk through this and what we mean about the coaching staff being built completely different. Ryan, the Broncos' old coaching staff, Vic Fangio, yes, was a first-time head coach. He had over 30 years of experience in the NFL coaching. Ed Donatel had over 20 years. Pat Shurmur had over 20 years. Tom McMahon.
Mike Munchak.
Yep, exactly. Tom McMahon was the least experienced coordinator that the Broncos had on that last staff. He had 15 years of NFL experience. He has 15 years of NFL experience.
And several years of coordinating experience.
Exactly. The most experienced coordinator, including the head coach on this new staff, has 14 years of NFL experience. So literally every single person with a top-ranking job on this staff has less experience than the least experienced one last time.
It's really interesting. And look, early on, I was like, yeah, like, let's do this. I love this. But it's getting, like, more and more obscure the further we go down the list. Yep. And I have to admit, it gives me a little bit of pause. Here, I guess, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Let's get the bad out of the way.
No. I'm going good news. I'm a good news first guy.
You are like my fiance. Which color? That one. I'm going to go with the other one. All right. Why did you ask?
I wanted to know your opinion just so I could go the other way.
You know, you kind of after so many years together, you kind of feel like my fiance. You know?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I feel like I should, fully have the wedding.
Yes, exactly.
But she had to wait longer than me. Okay. I'm going good news first. I have to give Nathaniel Hackett the benefit of the doubt here because I'm the give me the young guys guy. So it would be disingenuous of me to all these years say, stop going with these old dinosaurs and give me some youth and some energy and some excitement. Mm-hmm. It would be wrong for me to sit here now and be like, what is this guy doing?
Right.
This staff is a joke.
Yeah.
Where's the experience? It just doesn't add up. So there is a big part of me, and what do I always say also? Don't just do stuff because it's the way that other people do it. It's the biggest sin of the NFL.
Yep.
Is everyone looks around, they're like, well, no one's ever done that before. Vic Fangio, I can't coach from the box.
Right.
No one's ever done that before.
Yep.
Well, guess what? Now you're, I guess getting paid to sit on your couch, which is a good deal. But you'd probably rather still be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. You got fired because, well, maybe it wouldn't have worked, but I just don't understand how you don't try.
No.
So I'm not going to sit here and bash Nathaniel Hackett for having a different view on things. I don't think this is a case where he can't attract any good coaches to come coach with him. I think he has a very alternative way of looking at things and saying, I don't think it has to be done the way that everyone does it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. It just matters, can you connect with young people? And can you teach them? And do you know your craft? And can that work? So the good news for me is Nathaniel Hackett is doing something before this whole happened, I probably would have said this is what they should do. Mm-hmm. Now, I would have gone a little more experienced, but he's leaning all the way into his brand, which is we're young, we're exciting, we're making this a fun place to work with other young people, and I respect him a lot for that.
And you have a lot of guys that he's taken from the college ranks. Look at one of the guys the Broncos brought from the college ranks before, Zach Stevens, straight from the college ranks, 0 NFL experience when they hired him in 2018. He's now lasted through Vance Joseph's staff. He's lasted through Vic Fangio's staff, and he's only one of 2 holdovers on this staff, showing that, okay, you can take a swing at some college guys. There's no doubt that this staff is too inexperienced. There's just no doubt about it. It is way too inexperienced because 7 of the 11 guys, and when I talk about these 11 guys, I'm talking about Nathaniel Hackett, his 3 coordinators, and which 2 of them are going to be finalized in the next 48 hours or so, and then all of the position coaches. So that's pretty much the top line coaches, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care about the assistants below them. 7 of the 11 guys have never done their job before.
Yeah.
They've been assistant offensive line coaches, and now they're being bumped up to offensive line coaches. They've never done their job before, including Nathaniel Hackett, including your offensive coordinator, including your defensive coordinator. Between your 3 coordinators and your head coach, 1 year of coordinating experience. It's just wild. So you can't convince me that they have experience. They absolutely don't. But I don't view it as a bad thing, Ryan.
Well, let me just say this. I take issue with you saying too inexperienced. Mm-hmm. Because what's the end of that sentence? Too inexperienced to
do their job, to be competent at their job without any hiccups?
I don't think that's true. And so to me, the sentence would be too inexperienced to succeed.
Okay.
And that's just we can't know that. And so that's why I'm saying I'm giving full benefit of the doubt, innocent until proven guilty. But I have to give the but. If this doesn't work, it looks really bad.
And it's going to be really easy to point back to today and say, everyone should have saw this coming.
Yes. And we can't go through this conversation without acknowledging that. If this thing goes south, we're going to look back and say, like, I'll probably be calling it Nathaniel Hackett and his clown car of assistants.
Right.
Like, just pack them all in there. It doesn't matter where they came from. It doesn't matter if they've ever done the job before. And, you put together a staff of a bunch of people who'd never done their job before and they weren't good at that job. No crap. So we have to acknowledge that. But I will give them the benefit of the doubt. And I love the fact that Nathaniel Hackett isn't saying, I finally got this opportunity. Got to make sure I do things the way that it's been done before. No, He's saying, I got this opportunity. I'm about to do this my way.
Yep.
And that fires me up. But it would be, I'm not going to sit here and say, it's great. Everything's 100% awesome. Anyone who says you need experience is crazy. We don't know. No one's ever done this before. Mm-hmm. This is the most, I can't confirm this.
Sure.
But I'm fairly certain this is the most inexperienced NFL coaching staff in history.
Mm.
So, no, we don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that he's taking a swing on what he wants to do, his guys, people that he trusts, people that he wants in his building. if it doesn't work, it's going to look terrible.
It's going to look terrible. And Eric coming in, correct me, Azani did have 1 year in the NFL with the Bears, so I apologize for that. But pretty much straight out of college. And Ryan, I'm taking a complete opposite look at this. You pointed to the good and said, but there's the potential for the bad. I'm saying he is too inexperienced. When Sean McVay was hired to be the Rams head coach, he was straight up too inexperienced. But with that being too inexperienced, I'm not saying that in a bad way, because what I think this means is a very high ceiling, which again is hard to categorize, but a very low floor, and I'm okay with it. In fact, I love that there is not a high floor, because you know what Vic Fangio's coaching staff had? It had a pretty high floor, and we saw that. The worst the Broncos were, 5-11 under Vic Fangio. Nah, that's not a super high floor, but I think this coaching staff, when you just look at it, has a lower floor, and you know where the worst place to be in the NFL is? It's where the Denver Broncos have been under Vance Joseph. It's where the Broncos have been under Vic Fangio. It's being, okay, we talked about last year, this team, regardless of who the starting quarterback is too good to be bad.
Yep.
Now, not quite so sure about that. I think this team, and especially with the quarterback situation in limbo, could be pretty bad. And Ryan, it's not the worst thing for this team to bottom out this year. However, let's say they swing for the fences, and with this swing of going completely young, they hit. That's fantastic. You know what the Broncos will turn into? They'll turn into a breeding ground of young coaches to be hired away. That's great. As much as we didn't want Dan Quinn to be in here and then have Mike McDaniel be the offensive coordinator, because then he's going to be plucked away after one good season. That's what you want at the end of the day, and especially since Nathaniel Hackett is an offensive head coach, you'd love that. Come take Justin out, and it means good things are happening. Or you bottom out just like the Cincinnati Bengals did.
Yeah.
But George Paton says, I believe in Nathaniel Hackett. I believe in this staff. Look, we had a lot of rookie issues, maybe at our quarterback position, also with our coaching staff. Get all of that out of the way in 1 year. That's what we did not see with Vance Joseph. Remember, he was stuck with the coordinator. Then as Vance was getting maybe some rookie mistakes out of the way his first year, then he was able to bring in his guy, and then his guy had some rookie mistakes, and it just never added up. At least everything's adding up right now, so everything can get out of the way. And one more thing, you look at these two coaching staffs that were in the Super Bowl. And sure, that's not everything. Zac Taylor, first-time head coach. Sean McVay, first-time head coach. In terms of this being their first teams that they've led. When the coaching staff that Sean McVay has right now, Kevin O'Connell, his offensive coordinator, 1 year of coordinating experience before joining the Rams. His defensive coordinator, 1 year of defensive coordinating experience. His special teams coordinator, tons of experience. Don't really care about that. Zac Taylor, his offensive coordinator, 0 years of offensive coordinator experience. His defensive coordinator, 1 interim year of defensive coordinator experience. So Hackett's saying, it's worked for some teams. Why can't I try it?
Yep, and here's what I think is the most important thing to Nathaniel Hackett and why I think he's doing it this way. Buy-in. He needs his coaching staff to buy into the vision. And when you have dinosaurs and boulders and redwood trees on your coaching staff, there's a chance that they're gonna say, come on, man, get the shtick out of here. This is so lame. And you can't have that. You cannot have someone pulling in the other direction in any successful endeavor. And so Nathaniel Hackett's saying, look, I got to get, what'd you say, 11, 12?
Yep, 11.
I got to get 11 guys, just like in football, going in the same direction. And he's saying, I don't really care what they've done before. To an extent, he's not hiring you or me to go coach running backs. We'd probably be a little in over our heads.
I haven't got the call yet.
Yeah. But he's saying, I don't care what level they've done it at.
Right.
Do they believe in me? Do they believe in my vision? And if we're all on that same side of the rope, pulling the same way, I think my vision works. And I kind of like it. I kind of like that about him because, again, he is a little shticky. Not to the extent of like a college coach. He's not, PJ Fleck, row the boat, whatever.
Right.
But he has a brand. It's high energy. It's high excitement. It's make things a little more fun, a little more corny. And that can't work if you've got your other assistant coaches rolling their eyes.
Yep.
And I could see a scenario where some coaches, based on the way they are, talking shit behind his back.
Yep.
Saying, God, this guy is so lame.
Yep.
And in the room, with their players, and then you create doubt there, and it's a cycle. So if he gets everyone pulling in the same direction, they're also high energy. They want to do the fun, PowerPoint presentations and all that stuff. I think it can really work. And I like the fact that he's saying, I'd rather have someone who buys into the way I want to do it than someone who I know has been successful at what they do at this level, because I think that's more important than that.
Now, one of the things is he is getting guys that are just like him, and it's guys that he has connections to in the past. So does that nepotism, which some people who want to view this in a negative way are calling it, does that concern you? Look, the defensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett's one of his best friends in life. Does that concern you? Is that something that we should say, oh boy, this is just going back to, him bringing his guys in?
You know what concerns me is when half the coaching staff is complaining about the head coach, which is what happened after Vic Fangio's first year. It was,
yep,
he's there he's there at all hours of the day, and he expects us to be there at all hours of the day too, which coaches at any level are there ridiculous hours. They're there at 5 a.m. and they maybe leave at 8 p.m. But Vic Fangio was like a there at 5 a.m., leave at midnight type of guy. And these guys, he didn't have a wife and kids to go back to. These guys did. And it obviously that's going to wear thin on you working, 15-hour days. You don't get to see your family at all. It was that. It was he grunts and rolls his eyes at everything we do if he doesn't like it. He never really addresses it directly, just passive-aggressively makes comments about it in meetings in front of us. That concerns me. Do I love the nepotism thing? No, don't love it. But if you're surrounding yourself with people that you like and they like you, and again, they're in on the mission, then I think it can really work. Again, if it goes bad, it looks bad. Oh, you brought in all your buddies from college. Sick.
Yep.
Your little fraternity house at Dove Valley. Congratulations. You went, 2-14,
yep.
2-15. And to be fair, your worst case scenario thing, which actually isn't worst case scenario, but in terms of wins worst case scenario, it's going to still elicit that. People are going to be roasting Nathaniel Hackett.
Of course.
If it goes that far south.
People will be calling him to get fired.
Yes. But you get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, and then all of a sudden your fortunes have changed.
Yep. Then you're in the Super Bowl 1 year later, and you're looking at a contract extension. My last question with this is, man, the thing that I think we could be looking back on, just like we talked about yesterday, is an instructional designer, John Vieira, who was officially announced as the instructional designer by the Broncos about 2 minutes ago. I think that's something that we could be looking back on and saying, Hackett brought in a very inexperienced staff, and his answer to that was, we're going to bring a guy in to coach the coaches. That is something where I don't want to buy in too much to that right now, personally.
I like it. It's one of my favorite moves of the whole thing.
Oh, okay, convince me.
Because you know what they say, the biggest job of the coach is coaching the coaches. So why would you not bring in help on that? I don't know what Vieira's background is, but I'm sure it's a little bit more, psychology and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Which Tad Boyle, one of the coaches who I admire the most of anyone I've ever been around, always says if I could go back, I would have majored in college in psychology because that's my biggest job is managing and understanding people.
Okay. You're selling me on it.
So I love the idea. It's like what's one of the biggest jobs of the coach on game day? Managing the clock.
Right.
What do we always say? Have an extra coach in there helping you manage the clock who that's all they have to worry about.
Yeah.
So I like this idea of, hey, this is a really important job. Why would I not bring in help for it?
And something else that the Nathaniel Hackett did, Derek Haithcock was also just announced as assistant to the head coach. No other title. Assistant to the head coach. You know what that tells me? Potential game management. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And he's kind of making up positions. Assistant to the head coach, typically you're brought in as like a special defensive assistant and assistant to the head coach. And so you're obviously going to be on the defensive side during game day. There's no other commitment there. Instructional designer, that's not a position. He's making that up. He's doing things his way, which I really like. He's not saying, okay, we fired 2 guys, I need to replace 2 guys. He's saying, I need to create new positions, and I do really like that.
I really like it too. And again, it's him sitting there during his time as a coach saying, I don't think that everyone's doing this the right way. If I were the guy in charge, I would have done it differently. And clearly, he sold George Paton on this vision. And that, to me, is one of the bigger reasons for optimism. George Paton's been around a long time, too. He's seen it done certain ways. And the fact that Nathaniel Hackett came in and said, and I assume this type of stuff was discussed in the interview,
right? Where
Nathaniel Hackett said, I'm not going to do it like everyone else. I want to coach for the coaches.
Yep.
Because those guys need instruction, too. And I might not always have enough time for it. Here in Green Bay, I feel like Matt doesn't have enough time to coach the coaches.
Right.
Maybe once in a while he pops in and gives you a little bit of feedback, but I'd love to have someone to do that. I need, an assistant head coach. That's the only title. Now, we've seen like Vance had his assistant. I don't know, but he did have like a separate title.
Right.
Rob. Great dude.
Yeah. Roberto, some might say.
as some called him. So I love that he was able to sell George Paton on this. As I just tried to do with Vieira to you, like that's what he did. He sold George Paton on that, and George Paton said, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Yep. I like the way that you're doing this.
Yep.
Let's try something new. Let's try something different. And you know what? Someone tried something at some point in some time that revolutionized everything.
Yep.
Someone was probably the first to have an offensive coordinator.
Right.
Obviously, someone was the first to ever throw a forward pass.
Yep.
So there are, this could be something that if it works, every single person has their coach.
Yep.
And it's going to sound silly unless it works.
Yep. When it works, it's going to be good.
And if it doesn't work, we'll have a lot of material to roast him for on this podcast.
It's going to be just like we said with the 76ers guy they brought in. It's going to be like, oh, yeah, they did that. Clearly that didn't work. That was a stupid move.
Yep, exactly. So I'm intrigued. This is maybe the most on the fence I've ever been about any topic we've ever discussed here. I don't have a hard line answer for you. I don't know.
You know what I like though, Ryan, and it's something we talk about betting occasionally. You've advised me this on betting. Sometimes the best things are the ones that make you feel uncomfortable because you know what? You're trying something new. You're trying something different. I agree with you. I haven't seen a staff this inexperienced ever. Maybe there has been, but for the most part, he's going out on a limb here, and it could either end in absolute disaster, and we're just going to be sitting here saying, what the heck was he thinking? Why didn't we kill him then? We had our questions then. Or we could be saying, he went out on a limb and it worked out. And this all is probably a huge reason why Nathaniel Hackett sold himself to George Paton over Dan Quinn. Yeah. I have to imagine Dan Quinn said, I'm going to bring in an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I'm going to keep Ed Donatel. I'm going to keep some of these guys around. And it's just going to be, instead of a rebuild, it's going to be a reload, and we're going to be right there. And that's maybe what he thought George Paton wanted to hear. But instead, and I love that George Paton had his ears open, he said, let's do something different.
Yeah, I love that. I always want different, which is why I think if you made me pick right now, I'd say I like this.
Yep.
And you know what? If you're Nathaniel Hackett and it all comes crashing down, at least you get to say I did it my way.
Yep, exactly.
You say, I had an idea, I went out, I said, F it.
Yep.
I'm going to try it. And it didn't work, but I can sleep at night knowing I tried to do it my way.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I felt bad for Vance Joseph at times as being the Broncos head coach, because he failed, and he didn't fail because of entirely himself. He failed because people in the organization said, you're going to do it this way. Who knows if he agreed with that? Yep. But he didn't get to fail on his own. He failed because other people failed him. Now, it seems like George Paton's saying, bud, you get to survive on your own or you get to fail on your own.
Which I love. And obviously George Paton is going to give him the resources that he needs.
Yep.
And say, give him hell, kid.
Yep.
Which I'm excited to see how it turns out. One thing that I promise you won't fail is coming to the DNVR bar.
Yep.
If you come down here, it's just not going to be a failure. It's going to be an abject success. You're going to come down here. You're going to run into some fellow Denver sports fans that you might know from Twitter. And you're going to have a great conversation about the Broncos or the Nuggets or the Buffs or whoever. Then you might run into one of us. You might see super producer Kale hanging out down there. You might say hi to him. You're going to talk with us about it. You're going to watch a game. You're going to have an ice-cold beer in a 22-ounce glass as a DNVR member. And you're just going to have a blast. So, no, we do things a little differently here, just like Nathaniel Hackett.
That's for sure.
But no chance of failure.
No chance of failure. And there's no chance of failure when someone's going to give you $150 in free money. And that's what our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook are doing. And Ryan, I've got a DraftKings pick of the week. But first, I got to tell you about how to just load your bank account to then load up on our DraftKings pick of the week. Bet $1 on any basketball game this week. And if your team wins, you get $150 in free bets. Also, check out their same game parlays. You can do that for any game tonight, tomorrow, anytime this week. We've got a long ways until football season, but DraftKings has you covered for everything else you need leading up till there. So make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Start your account off with $150 in free bets by using the code DNVR over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. And Ryan, I mentioned that DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. There's something that I noticed last week, and I haven't stopped thinking about it. It's probably going to be the biggest bet that I ever place. Now, you do have to wait on this for a long time, but I'm in love with it. And maybe you got to tell me if I just have my crimson glasses on. I'm going to go so hard on Alabama national champions. And then that way I'm just going to sit back the rest of the season and say I don't have to bet on these individual games because I've got all my money out there. They're only plus 225 to win the whole thing, which is not that good. But you know what I thought of? Man, when it comes down to Alabama and Georgia in the national championship game, or Alabama, Ohio State, and Alabama's minus 200, I'm going to say, damn, I wish I had them plus 225. And that's what I'm going to have. They have the two best players in the country coming back. One's at the quarterback position, the other's on defense with Will Anderson. They got the best head coach in the country. They just lost, which I like that they lost and they're coming back. They're easy favorites to win. So I'm gonna be placing that bet.
That's great. I'll tell you on that for sure. I might
love it.
I might need to parlay it with something just to give me a more a little sooner dose of dopamine.
Right.
Like Nikola Jokic MVP and Alabama to win the national title. Just to give me that little boost to keep me going.
Yep.
Mine, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow, which I normally wouldn't make you do, but
that's a lot sooner than mine.
Yes, it is. Tomorrow here at the DNVR Bar, we've got a doubleheader, same time. Nuggets and Avs both on the TVs at the same time. I believe it's going to be Avs game sound tomorrow, but Avs Golden Knights 8 p.m. puck drop. Nuggets Warriors 8 p.m. tip off. We're going Avs Nuggets parlay.
Yes.
Avs Nuggets.
Yes.
It's called the Immaculate Vibes parlay because if you're down here at the bar and it hits, the vibes will be immaculate. So get in on that. It should be a good time. And come hang out. I believe Ryan Green, the man of the hour at DNVR.
Mr. DNVR, Ryan Green.
Yes.
Fantastic Twitter handle, too.
He's going to be down here hanging out, creating some awesome video content so you could be a part of history. The first DNVR Ryan Green vlog.
Oh, man, that's going to be so good. And you guys have to stay tuned to everything that he's got coming with the entire company, but also with our beat. We're going to have some pretty sweet things.
Yes, and we love things at DNVR where the second name is Green or Greens, like our friends over at Athletic Greens. This stuff is awesome, legitimately awesome.
Yep.
When they sent it over, you just never know. You never know if you're going to like the product or not when a place wants to advertise with us.
Yep.
They said, hey, 8 ounces of water in the morning, mix it in there, have it on an empty stomach, and just see what happens. Just, just see how you feel. And Zach, I legitimately feel amazing. Like after I have my athletic greens, I deal with like a lot of heartburn stuff. I mean, I spend way too much time at a bar. So, there's a lot of stuff here that leads you down the road to heartburn.
Yeah.
And ever since I started having my athletic greens in the morning, very little to none. Like even the Super Bowl, which is like the official heartburn day of the year.
We talked about how many buckets you had.
Yes, exactly. Seltzers, wings, nachos, all the stuff. Very mild, easily treatable. And so I'm giving a lot of credit to Athletic Greens for making me feel better gut health. Just like a nice little energy boost in the morning, makes you feel fresh. It has that kind of like whatever the opposite of like the guilt you have when you eat like French toast in the morning. I feel like I just had dessert for breakfast. It's like it has the opposite feel. You feel like, oh, I just started off the day with some greens. And I call it the Athletic Greens glow. You can tell when someone walks into the office here at DNVR if they had their Athletic Greens that morning. So check it out. And right now, if you buy from them, they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. The travel packs are huge to have too, so you don't have to bring your canister with you on the road.
Especially for you. You're going every other week.
Yep. I haven't missed it. I haven't forgot my Athletic Greens once. So head over to athleticgreens.com/Broncos and get in on that awesome deal. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. You will feel better.
Quick tip, which I discovered today. I'm actually pretty good at listening to directions, but for this, I wasn't. I like to chug 16 ounces of water in the morning when I wake up, so I've been putting the Athletic Greens in 16 ounces of water. It tastes fine. Today, I listened to the directions, did 8 ounces. I actually enjoyed the taste. It tasted, when I did it with 16 ounces, I tasted a little citrus. Today it was like sweet citrus.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, this is it now.
So then you just put 8 ounces more in your cup and wash down whatever was left on the side.
It's exactly what I do. And Ryan, really quick for your DraftKings pick of the week, to parlay Jokic MVP and Alabama, plus 1265. I may have to do that with you.
That's nice. I will say I have to flex a little bit. I already have Jokic from early in the year at like plus 1875.
Wow, 1875, and right now over at DraftKings he's second at plus 320.
Oh, they moved up a little bit. What's Embiid at right now?
140.
Oh, yikes. Okay, I believe tonight is the first Embiid Harden game.
Yep.
And I'm really hoping that the usage that comes away from Embiid hurts them, and maybe like I need like a dust up. Maybe they end up not liking each other.
Just give it a couple of weeks, maybe even just a couple of days.
Yep. I love all the videos of Harden. People are like, look how happy he is, man. He was really bummed out in Brooklyn. It's like, do you not remember we just did this exact same thing right before he went to Brooklyn? And as soon as he got there, wow, look how happy he is.
Like a year and a half. It was like 5 months ago.
Yes. It was like, wow, he was so sad in Houston. Look how happy he is here.
It's also like he didn't have a good player with him in Brooklyn either. No,
oh, my God.
Freaking stacked as well.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Still, the Alabama national champions one is really good.
Yeah, thank you. I love it.
You can probably, even if you didn't want to let it ride all the way, you probably close to double your money some point during the season when they're like 8-0 or something.
Yep, exactly.
Great stuff. All right. What was the question you wanted to pose to me in this second segment?
We talk about this coaching staff being very young. Right now, the Broncos don't have a solution at quarterback, a big-time solution. So my question to you is, Ryan, are the Broncos rebuilding?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think at least naturally their inclination is chase a quarterback and go for a Super Bowl this year. Mm-hmm. Now, I think there's a little bit of a thought in their mind of, okay, if we don't hit big, then let's see what happens. And someone was asking me the other day, like, what do I think the chances are of Drew Lock starting next year? I think it's really low. But it's starting to come up a little bit for me, where I'm seeing this thought of, okay, let's just see what happens. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say it's like an intentional tank job, because I personally believe if you give Drew Lock an opportunity in this offense, he's going to be too good for you to tank. I've seen enough from him where there's obviously the Drew Lock lovers out there who are saying, give Drew a chance. He can take this team to the playoffs. which might be a little unrealistic. There's a Drew Lock haters who are like, start Drew Lock, we'll go 0-16. I think both sides are wrong.
Right.
It's somewhere in between, which isn't great, but I could see a scenario where they're saying, well, let's not go invest and chase a Teddy Bridgewater again just to miss the playoffs. Let's sink or swim with Drew Lock. Right. And maybe you do hit, and all the people who love Drew Lock are saying, you're all idiots, we told you so. Or maybe things go terribly wrong, and all the people who hated him, I think it's kind of like the 80-20 or the 80-10-10 type of thing. 80% of scenarios, I think the Broncos end up somewhere between 5 and 9 wins.
Great.
And 10% are on either side.
And I really like that. And it's crazy where the Broncos are right now. I don't think it's crazy to say that the Broncos are rebuilding or close to rebuilding. It's also not crazy to say that the Broncos are Super Bowl contenders if they get a top-notch quarterback. It is so weird, the cusp they are on of being Super Bowl contenders if they get one thing. But let's say they don't get the big quarterback. The best thing for them to do is keep Drew Lock, is draft a rookie with that number 9 overall pick. Don't go after Kirk Cousins. Don't go after Jimmy Garoppolo. The last thing we need, Ryan, is Teddy Bridgewater or someone like Teddy Bridgewater here to guarantee 5 or 6 wins with this team. That's the last thing you need. I would be 100% okay going into this season with Drew Lock as a starting quarterback, with Sam Howell as a starting quarterback with number 9. However, you have to play that guy this year and let him and the coaching staff sink or swim on their own. And then you know what? If it sinks, then you have to decide. George Paton has to decide. Was it the quarterback? Is this quarterback better than the quarterbacks next year? If not, you draft a quarterback next year. You don't worry about the Josh Rosen scenario. You do exactly what the Arizona Cardinals did. If you think it was all the coaching staff, you blow them out. Just like the Arizona Cardinals did a couple years before Kyler Murray. Yep. They had a coach for 1 year, realized he wasn't the guy, moved on from him.
Do you even remember who that person was?
I think he was just hired to be a defensive coordinator somewhere. But no, to answer your question. And then they went on and got Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah. That one's hard to forget.
This is something where it's crazy. Right now, the Broncos are closer to rebuilding than contending for a Super Bowl. And if they don't get the quarterback, don't just try to stay afloat, because with your coaching staff, you're not trying to stay afloat right now. You didn't hire Doug Marrone to come in to be a safe option as your offensive line coach, to be there for Nathaniel Hackett when he needs help. No, you said we're going to go all in on this Nathaniel Hackett experiment, give him everything he wants. Do the exact same thing at the quarterback position. Go all in with whatever you're doing. Don't bring in a Teddy Bridgewater or one of these guys. If you can get a Matt Stafford, a.k.a. a guy who you're going to trade 2 first-round picks for, who you're going to go all in around, do it. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, if Deshaun Watson comes available. If not, rebuild. And you know what? Let's say you try to rebuild with Drew Lock, and Drew Lock says, I'm too good to rebuild. You're going to have a winning record, and you're going to feel great about where you're going in the future.
Yep, I think the coach's name was Steve Wilkes.
Yes, exactly.
He got a raw deal, to be fair.
He did.
But it's just crazy how like a coach in the NFL just in and out, and no one really ever talks about him again.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm on board with this. I think, to me, I would much rather go with Malik Willis and take the big gamble, and that's what it is. Now it has this thing where the closer we get to the draft, the more and more in love me and others are going to fall with him, because that's just what happens when you're in the draft process. It happens with almost everyone, especially the ones with the more tantalizing athletic abilities. But to me, it's like, put him in this structured offense, which is really designed to make quarterbacks better. Like, that's the whole point of the offense, is it makes things easier on quarterbacks. It makes them better. If you're looking for an example, just look a little bit to the west, where there's a team hoisting the Lombardi Trophy right now, where the West Coast system took Matthew Stafford from very good quarterback to Super Bowl champion. And he and Cooper Kupp are incredible. It's because this offense is designed to elevate quarterbacks. And so you take Malik Willis, who is inconsistent, and his tape has flashes of brilliance and flashes of scariness, and you say, let's put him in this offense and let's let it ride. And if it fails, great. Like you said, run it back. Go take Bryce Young. Go take C.J. Stroud and do the same thing all over again.
Yep, 100%, Ryan. And I have never been on this train before. But if you draft a quarterback in the first round, he starts from day one. And the reason I haven't been on this train, I didn't think Paxton deserved it because he came in, he didn't earn it, he didn't do anything. And Trevor was a guy that did the opposite. He did not come in with the high expectations where he knew he was just going to be given the job. He earned it, but now it's a different circumstance because you have 2, maybe 3 really good quarterbacks in the draft next year. And if your rookie quarterback is going to be so bad, he's probably going to put you in a position to get one of those guys. If he's going to be good enough to move you away from those guys, he's probably the guy you want to build around. But how much did the Bears benefit by playing Andy Dalton at the beginning of last year?
Literally none.
None. What did the Jacksonville Jaguars, maybe the only good thing that Urban Meyer did was let Trevor, and it took him long enough to name Trevor Lawrence a starter, which was stupid. What did one thing Bill Belichick did? He's kind of viewed as maybe a conservative guy. No, he cut Cam Newton and said, Mac, you're playing from the start. That's exactly what the Denver Broncos would need to do. And you know what? I trust George Payton that he would do that because what did George Payton do last year? He built around his coach. He said, Vic, I'm giving you 1 year to prove. What do you want? You want a cornerback? You want another cornerback? I'll get you your cornerback. Hey, you know what? I'll get you a veteran quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. He did everything for Vic that he needed to do realistically. This year, I hope it's not that's George Payton's plan every year. I hope he builds around Nathaniel Hackett and says, Nathaniel, you don't want a journeyman quarterback. You want a young guy. We're going to give you that first overall pick.
Yeah, or the 9th overall pick.
Right.
First pick you have. Yeah. Some people in the comments, it's so funny just how, like, the narrative can shift. People are saying Willis is a reach at 9. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm saying, I don't even know if he's there at 9.
I totally agree. I don't think he's there.
And that's so crazy.
Yeah.
But I think at this time last year, we were probably saying the same thing about Justin Fields.
Yep.
He won't be there at 9.
Yep.
He was there at 9. And I still think the Broncos made the wrong decision.
Yep.
Although they did the one thing that I said, you better do, which is if you don't go quarterback, you better hit. And they did hit.
They did.
So good on you. You got a part of the equation right.
Mm-hmm.
I still would have gone Justin Fields number 9. We'll see how that works out in the long run. I also don't understand what the hell the Chicago Bears are doing. Not giving him, his offensive guy
So weird.
to coach him. It just makes no sense to me.
Teams just either overthink things or just don't think about things at all. And I'm not quite sure which one the Bears are doing, but it makes no sense whatever they're doing or not doing. So, Ryan, if the Broncos want to, secretly tank, what's the worst option they would realistically go with at quarterback this year?
I have no idea. I mean, it would probably be Drew Lock.
And I agree with you. And that's no offense to Drew Lock.
I don't mean that as an insult, but they're
No.
not going to purposefully downgrade from him.
Right. They're not going to downgrade. And also, how much do you have to invest in Drew Lock? Nothing. And so if that's the way they go and they don't bring anyone in and you have Brett Rippon and Drew Lock, they're saying we're going to trust Nathaniel Hackett to try to turn him into something. And if he does, great. If not, this is a plan that George Payton is sticking by Nathaniel Hackett after this year and buying into the long term, which is a rebuild.
Let me defend that really quick, just so, again, we don't get taken out of context. I can't imagine a scenario where they would go with a quarterback who has proven less than Drew Lock in the NFL and is less of an investment than Drew Lock.
Yep.
Meaning, if you go with someone who's proven less than him, it's probably a rookie, which you invested in.
Yep.
And if you go with someone who's cheaper than him, I don't even know if that's possible.
Yeah.
It would be like Blake Bortles.
Exactly. You nailed it on the head. That's what It Stress says, Ryan. That is the right answer right there.
I mean, but I don't even think. I think with I actually think with how long he's been in the NFL, the minimum that you could pay him would still be more
than Drew. You're probably right.
So Drew is the lowest investment with the least proven possible quarterback they could go with.
Exactly. And you know what? Where the Broncos are, it's not a bad thing. And I would be all for it because I'm not sold that Drew would be a complete failure, Ryan, but it would be a great place to be if the Broncos can't get an all-time great quarterback this offseason.
Man, what an interesting place to be. What an interesting place to be. And I love what you said there just about they're kind of in between Super Bowl contender and rebuild.
Yeah.
And it's not a good place to be if you stay there.
Yep.
If you can find a way to dig your way out to one way or the other, and no one, I think the Broncos are in such a bad position to tank. Yes, Kale?
Okay, so Drew Lock's base salary is like 1.01 next year.
Oof.
The vet minimum is like 785.
Okay.
Oh.
Portals is probably, so it's like very minuscule of a difference.
Not yet.
If you want to tank, you go Blake.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah, there's the idea right there, and it actually makes sense. There's a Hackett connection.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm going to recapture the Jacksonville Magic," which my God, people in this town would lose their mind.
People would be so out on George Payton, so out on Nathaniel Hackett.
Just say trust the process. In
Yep.
in one, you just have to slide it in there.
Yep,
In
yep.
one,
Bring the 76ers guy back for this year.
right, and just be like, hey, look, we really like Blake, and I just need you guys to trust the process. Boom, we all get it. I come on the podcast every day. I say they're tanking. It's okay. Everyone, calm down.
Yep.
Wow, it wouldn't be sexy, but
No.
you know what's sexy?
What?
Sexy pizza.
Oh, man.
I know. 12:45 right now. That
Yeah.
is pizza o'clock.
Yep.
Sexy pizza. Delicious stuff. I always talk about their little like green chili. It's like a green chili. They have a green chili and sausage. I think they have a green chili and pep one as well. So delicious. They've got the philanthropies, which every one you buy, they're all specialty pies. Every one you buy, a little bit goes back to a nonprofit in Colorado, which of course we love. It's a true Colorado company, just like us. We love supporting them. They love supporting us. It's a match made in heaven. So if you're thinking pizza tonight, maybe you had like a fancy Valentine's Day meal last night. You want to go easy tonight, order in some pizza, hit up Sexy Pizza.
Smart. Very smart. You know what pairs very well with Sexy Pizza?
Breck Brews?
Breck Brews.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pizza and beer.
I've actually never had Sexy Pizza without Breck Brews.
Oh, I was gonna say you're crazy. Yeah,
They go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand, just like at our tailgates. I mean, it's a match made in heaven. That's why we have it at our tailgates. And boy, you got to go on the Breck Brew Finder. All you have to do is breckbrew.com. Top right hand corner of their screen, there's a brew finder, and that won't just help you find Breck brews. It'll help you find exact specific brews that you're looking for. Of course, if you don't want to look online, just come down to the DNVR bar where we have so many delicious Breck brews. And if you can't make it to the bar, check out that Breck Brew Finder to get the delicious Breckenridge beer. Good company seltzer, if that's what you're looking for. Some people I know, call them crazy, like to pour it over ice. Little lime in there as well. And you can get yourself a delicious seltzer. So check out everything they have at Breck Brew.
All right.
Talk to the people.
Let's talk to the people.
And I think we had a lot of super chats
Whoa,
today.
Super Chat City. The homie Brian says, shout out to the best sports coverage team around. I love that. I don't know why that just reminded me of a really funny Instagram caption I saw from I think her name's Annie Agar.
Okay.
She's the one who does the impressions
Yeah,
of
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
Zoom
Yep,
meetings.
she's great.
She said, I provided more coverage at the Super Bowl than Eli Apple.
Oh, brutal.
I was like, that is so savage and
Oh,
amazing.
my gosh, it is. That feels like a Jerry Judy line.
It does. It does. Eli Apple is taking a beating.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
Yes.
Jesus.
Chase story?
No.
Oh, apparently Cooper Kupp after the last touchdown went up to Jamar Chase and just said applesauce.
Oh, my God.
Yikes. Oh, my goodness. I mean, that's what happens when you open your mouth, right?
Then
And
there
you get
was,
torched.
I think it was Emmanuel Acho said, or maybe it was, I think it was him, said, an apple hasn't ruined this many lives since the Garden of Eden.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. He's on blast right now.
Yeah. Jerry Judy doesn't even have to say anything.
Wow.
Everyone else
That's the
is
best
just
when
doing
you
it
just
for
sit
him.
back.
Yeah, exactly. Next one from Jacob. Boys, I think we're starting to look at Kenny Pickett as our starting quarterback in 2022. I'm both excited and scared at the thought. Hopefully that works out. Zach, your thoughts?
You know what? If you don't get you might as well take a swing this year on a quarterback at 9. If you're not trading up, you can afford to do that. Use your first round pick, take a swing, just like we said. Start him right away. If his hands are too small and you find that out right away, you hope you get some cold weather games where he can't throw the ball and you tank like it should go. But Kenny Pickett, one thing I love about him, he's athletic. And Ryan, just like something you say, especially if you don't have everything to be good right right away, which very few quarterbacks do as a rookie. He has that athleticism that can help him while he builds the mental side of the game, which I really like. And he's also a really smart guy. You pair those two things together and pair that with the right system, the right coaching staff, that can turn into a very good quarterback.
It's so weird because Kenny Pickett has a lot of the things that I usually value in quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Athleticism, accuracy. There's just something about him that I really don't like.
I agree with that. He doesn't jump out to me as a great quarterback, even though he had a great season last year. And one thing that I just can't get by, I know for a fact George Payton is a big hand size guy. And Kenny Pickett has small hands.
Interesting. I'm a big one glove at most guy, and he wears two.
He does
and that
wear
makes
two.
it so hard for me.
What did you say the nickname was for him? Kenny Two Gloves? Was it just that simple?
Maybe it was.
Oh, yes, because it's just like Teddy Two Gloves,
yes,
but Kenny Two Gloves.
Two Gloves.
Yep.
I can't do it. I cannot. And like the loose long sleeves. What are we doing?
It just reminds me of, not me because I wore tight sleeves, but what I would have been like if I were to wear loose sleeves. It just makes you look like it's like there's weak.
There was like a kid, remember when like Under Armour became like the thing you had, but then there was like one kid on your team who just wore like a long sleeve t-shirt.
Yep, the cotton one.
Everyone else was in like that's what it looks like.
Yep, it does. And
Kills
that's
me.
not the swagger you want.
And that's not a quarterback evaluation. But I'm just telling you, I'm trying to figure out why I would have, if Baker Mayfield had done the fake slide, I would have been like, greatest move of all time.
Right.
So something about Kenny Pickett, I'm like, that was so weak, dude. I can't believe he did that to the defenders. That's just wrong. I can't believe he's abusing his power like that.
If he does that in the NFL, he's going to get his head taken off.
Yes, he is. That's easily worth 15 yards.
Yep. Next one from Dylan Smith says, hey guys, not my choice or preference. However, my prediction is we miss on Rodgers and Wilson and Drew Lock starts. They build around him. Scary, but I think that's what happens. Love 5 shows a week.
We always do 5 shows a week.
Yeah, we do.
I guess one on the weekend.
Right.
Would be in season, Sunday through Thursday instead of Monday through Friday.
Right.
I don't see it just because of some of the comments we've heard of like the quarterbacks that we bring in, like not the quarterbacks that we have or the ones that are around. It's doesn't feel like the Broncos believe in Drew Lock, and that's just where it is. I don't know.
And I agree. And just the one other thing about going into a complete rebuild into a season is the general manager and head coach can be on the same page about that right now, but the owner can't be on the same page, and the owner decides both of their fates. So that's just one reason why George Payton may say, shoot, I want to go the rebuild route, but my job's on the line. I've got to go and get a Kirk Cousins or something to make sure that this new owner doesn't fire me in a couple of months when this season goes straight.
Yep, big super chat here from Taylor O'Neill. Appreciate all of the super chats, and especially this one. He says, "I don't know why I'm still excited about Drew Lock. Do you think Hackett wants to give him another chance, try to continue to develop him even more? What kind of season would you expect if Drew returned as a starter?"
I personally don't think that Hackett likes or dislikes Drew. I think he has other visions in mind, and I think that's something that George Payton also has. So I do think Drew is a 4th or 5th option for this team.
Yeah. I was talking to Big Drive Spence here on Super Bowl Sunday, and he was like, I can envision a world where Drew Lock starts and it works. And I can he's like, I could get myself excited about that with Nathaniel Hackett. And I got to be honest, I'm not completely off of that. The best football we've seen Drew Lock play was in this system. And so can I envision a world where, Javonte Williams is running great outside zone and breaking tackles, and then Drew Lock's coming off of play action and ripping crossing routes to Jerry Jeudy? I really can. I really can, but I just don't think that that's where the Broncos want to go.
Yep, I totally agree with you. Thank you guys for the super chats. Ryan, should we dive into the comment section?
Let's do it.
All right, first one coming in from Broncology. Did you see the TikTok clip of Von in deep emotion and inflection when his teammates were all partying, realizing how big the moment is, realizing he may never be there again, maybe missing the Broncos? Guess time will tell. Thanks for the coverage as always.
I think there's a wave of emotions there, and I did see it, and it was really powerful. I think the biggest thing on his mind was Demaryius Thomas.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And Ryan, I saw more post-game stuff yesterday with Vaughn, and asked about coming back to the Rams. He said all of the right things, but there was just no commitment to him. And right when you win a Super Bowl, you're wearing those colors still, and there's no commitment. I mean, maybe it's just a negotiating tactic, but I thought, boy, he's had every opportunity to buy into the Rams for at least one more year, and he just hasn't.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm still leaning he's back in Denver. Next one from Nemo3. Solid D+ on the Sapphires. WTF. Settled for second and third choices, taking a flyer on damn near the whole staff. We have interns as position coaches. Albeit if we get Aaron Rodgers, none of this matters. I'm still uneasy on the talent acquisition for this staff. Pretty evident the buddy system is fully in effect here. I can't blame anyone who feels this way.
Exactly.
There's absolutely nothing I can point to say this is why you're wrong about it.
Yeah.
I can just say I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens.
You know what's wild? Only one person on this staff is taking a demotion. Typically, you see that a lot because a head coach gets fired. You hire Vic Fangio to be your defensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak is the only guy taking a demotion. Everyone else pretty much getting a step up. And only a few guys staying at the same spot they were. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator of the Vikings last year, now taking a demotion. He was only the offensive coordinator for 1 year, so it's not like he's taking a massive demotion.
I would actually feel better about this staff if Clint Kubiak was the offensive coordinator and Justin Outen had his job.
Wow. How about why? Because of the experience?
Yeah, and it's like... Yeah, exactly.
Very fair.
There's a proven commodity there.
Man, and even more so, Kirk Cousins will be coming here.
I did like seeing that when Hackett went to the game, he was with Outen.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio went to a couple games. I'm pretty sure he was just by himself every time.
Yep. And you just love they're sitting in normal seats drinking beers. I think Outen had just a Colorado beer or something.
Yep.
Hopefully they had Breck Brews.
We'll have to turn him on to Breck Brews.
Yeah, we will.
From Melbourne Bronco. Hey guys, all the garbage regarding Kyler Murray is frustrating. Everyone is a product of their environment. While his body language is poor, nobody but he knows the reasons why. Surely lessons learned regarding Micah Parsons' pre-draft drama. The Cowboys had the brains to draft him for his ability and ignore the issues, and he was outstanding in his rookie year. Any team that trusted staff to model a person to become great will be rewarded. Denver should be thinking the same. Cheers.
One thing about Kyler, though, is this goes back to college. It goes back to high school, as some of our commenters brought up last week. This is something that you would have to change about him. I don't think the Cardinals ruined him. Obviously, they didn't fix him, but I don't think it's just an Arizona problem.
No, and obviously the Cardinals didn't use it against him in the draft process.
Right.
They said, "Forget it. We're taking talent over everything," which is exactly what the Cowboys did with Micah Parsons. And we'll see. It's just different when you're a quarterback. The one position where you really can't get away with having an attitude. And I don't mean just having attitude. I mean having an attitude. You know what I mean? Too cool for school. Too good to listen to the what you're being told. That sort of thing. And I'm not in those meetings. I'm not in those buildings. So I don't know if that's what's happening. That's certainly what's being insinuated by the leaks that are coming out of there. And it's just, we talk about it. 4 people on the same page, right? Owner, GM, coach, quarterback. It does not feel like Kyler's playing along with that game.
No way. And this is not the last time we're going to talk about Kyler. Last week, honestly, I thought it was going to be a one and done topic for us, but we had to talk about it. It was a fun thing to talk about. This is real. And I think Kyler could be put out there. Maybe not traded, but they may try to threaten him in that way. He may try to threaten to the Cardinals.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Obviously I follow a lot of people in Arizona because of PHNX.
Yep.
It is like torn over there.
Yeah.
It's probably even more toxic than what we've dealt with around here because there's an actual good player being discussed.
Yep.
And one thing I saw someone say, because PHNX Cardinals just tweeted out, whose side are you on? The brass or Kyler? And someone said, let me think about this. The person who's succeeded at every single level of their football career, or the third worst franchise in NFL history.
Wow. Yep.
And it's like, okay.
Yep.
It's a good point.
Yep. It is a good point. And also the most important position in sports. We know what it's like.
Yep.
You have that position, you're fine. You don't, you're in trouble.
Yep, exactly. From Lou Drock, chaps, it feels like we're going to Hearing news of Rodgers' decision any moment now. My question for you is, how do you think this breaks? A Schefter or Rappaport bomb. B, a Rodgers or Packers statement. Or C, a trade package and team already agreed. I'm fascinated to see how it all unfolds. Cheers, Charlie.
A Schefter report specifically, I think, is how we figure this out. He's very tied in with both of those camps. I don't think we just see a trade happen. I think if Aaron Rodgers wants to be put on the market, remember, he has a little say in where he goes, but he's not just going to be able to dictate the trade. The Packers, I imagine, are going to want to make a bidding war if this happens. So we'll hear Aaron Rodgers has informed the team that he wants to be traded. He will not be back with them next year. And then, boom, he hits the market and offers are starting to roll in.
We're going to hear Aaron Rodgers has agreed to a 2-year extension worth $90 million and up to $100 million in incentives, and that'll be the end of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right.
Sadly, I think that's the first time I've ever publicly said that, but over the last week, that's where I feel like we're going, and
I agree.
I don't know. I mean, $45 million. Like, he wins, you know? Either way,
Yep.
He ends up winning. He's almost 40 years old.
Yep.
And I guess he would be 40 years old in the second season of that contract. He's going to get paid 40. You know, you've heard of shooting your age in golf.
Yeah.
This is making more in millions than your age.
Man, that is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe we'll have a deeper conversation on it tomorrow about why you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm in on that.
Next one from Peyton Manning, YT. My boys, what's good? There was a report that Nathaniel Hackett, quote, has told members of his team he is pushing hard, unquote, to reunite with the 4-time NFL most valuable player via blockbuster trade this offseason. Of course, I'm sure anyone would want Aaron, but I feel like Denver is the most likely spot. I also feel like Hackett and Rodgers are closer than we think. How long until Rodgers makes his decision?
It does feel like it's coming soon. If it's going to be, he's going back to Green Bay. If not, then I think this drags out all the way up until the week of the draft. So we'll see. I did see that report. I mean, I would assume, of course, he's saying that.
That's exactly my thing with it is, what else would he be saying? I'm sure that's his plan A, as it should be his plan A.
Should be almost everyone in the NFL's plan A.
But I don't think that's going, I don't think Aaron Rodgers ever questioned that. So that doesn't change anything with Rodgers or the Packers.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers told Nathaniel Hackett about this?
I think he said, I'm going to miss you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So then why would Nathaniel Hackett still be saying that?
Because he's hoping that things just go wrong.
Okay.
I
think Aaron Rodgers said, it's mighty fine out there in Denver. I might see you soon.
That would be the most Aaron Rodgers thing ever. Essentially saying, we'll see if I see you.
Said I've got a great recommendation for cowboy hats while you're out there.
Yeah. And then his fiance and him potentially maybe broke up, and he says, I never want to step foot in that state again.
Little Billie Eilish, you make me hate this city.
Yeah.
All right. He goes on and says, my take, it will be revealed that Rodgers told Hackett, if you get a head coach job in Denver, I'm coming with you. By Aaron himself after many cryptic tweets involving him thanking the Packers and sharing wonderful things about Hackett. The Packers won't let Aaron go, so he threatens to retire, and the Packers do the sensible thing and at least get something for him. Davante Adams can't stand playing without a Hall of Fame type quarterback and gets tagged and traded with Aaron. The deal, Packers receive Bradley Chubb, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, 3 firsts, 2 of this year's second, and 1 2023 second. Broncos receive Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, A.J. Dillon, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Broncos only re-sign Callahan and let just about everyone walk and sign Hassan Reddick in the offseason. Also, side note, when Rodgers retires at the end of the 2026 season, Davante Adams signs with the Niners and gets 2 more rings with Tom Brady. Sorry for the long comment. Thanks, and keep up the great work.
I love it, Peyton Manning, YT. Let's just change one thing there. Instead of Hassan Reddick, who's going to get paid a lot, it's Von Miller that they bring back.
Man, that would probably be one of the that'd be the biggest, blockbuster in NFL history.
Yep.
Those types of deals just don't happen.
No, we're talking. And also, the Broncos would be trading Bradley Chubb was 1 first-round pick, Jerry Jeudy was another first-round pick, then 3 real first-round picks. We're up to 5 first-round picks, plus Cortland Sutton, who's a Pro Bowler, second-round pick, and Javonte Williams, who's a second-round pick, and 3
more
seconds. So we're talking 5 first-round picks.
6 seconds.
Oh, my goodness. That is insane.
5 first, 6 seconds for 4 players.
Yep. And
2 very good.
Yep.
2 elite ones.
Yep.
1 okay one and 1 meh one.
That would be crazy. That'd be great. Sign me up, though. I'm
Oh
all
my
for
God,
it, baby.
We would have a heyday over here.
I'm not sure we'd ever leave these mics.
Yeah, probably not. Just 24-hour marathon
Yep.
discussing the trade.
We have bathrooms in the bar. We have food. We have alcohol. We have water. We're good.
I kind of now I'm like inspired to do this just for fun. Can we do like a 24-hour streaming marathon for charity?
That'd be a blast. Yeah, we got everything we need.
This is a good idea. Bronc Oilers. Morning, gents. Has the coaching search and interview process influenced your perception of the hire? I've always liked Hackett's energy and personality, but had my doubts about his acumen as a play caller and the staff he'd put together. Especially now seeing the level of inexperience in the coaching staff, it gives me confidence that the evaluation process was lengthy, thorough, and that Hackett wasn't necessarily the first choice, and the reactions around the league seem to be similar. Everyone is happy for Hackett, the person. There's questions around Hackett, the head coach.
That's interesting. I haven't seen the questions nationally about Hackett as a head coach yet, but just like Ryan said when someone questioned Hackett's staff earlier, I can't disagree with you.
No.
I mean, he's taking a massive gamble with it, with all of these hires. It could play out great where the Broncos hit on all of these guys and they're being poached and the Broncos are in the playoffs and competing and they've developed a quarterback, or it could turn out awful. And you know what the worst case is from there? That they have a good draft pick and you can either blow everyone out and start over, or you can just hope that these guys turn out to be good a second year.
Coaching is such a crapshoot. You would think that hiring Mike Munchak should give you a top 5 offensive line in the NFL, right?
Yep.
Never worked out that way.
Yep.
Now, I'm not taking a shot at him. He's an amazing coach and was an amazing player. But it's just not as cut and dry as get the best coach, get the best results.
No, absolutely
it's
not.
It's more about getting the best coach for the people.
Right.
And you just never know what that's going to be.
Yep. What did Mike Munchak do? He turned Garrett Bowles around for a year. That was great. We saw regression of Dalton Reisner.
Cost the Broncos a bunch of money.
It cost the Broncos a lot of money. We didn't see anything from Lloyd Cushenberry. The right tackle position really was fixed because of guys they brought in. So you're right. You're not guaranteed anything with that. Next one from Zach Roth 10. Good morning, fellas. Discovered the pod at the beginning of the season and haven't missed an episode all year.
Hell
So
yeah.
I finally pulled the trigger on a subscription.
We
got
got
him. My question is, after another iconic Von Miller Super Bowl performance, I saw a lot of Broncos fans upset about the trade and saying that we would have won 3 or 4 more games this year if we would have kept him. I find it hard to believe, and I think being on that LA defense brought the best out of him. Just wanted to get your thoughts on this.
There is absolutely no evidence from any of Von Miller's time on the field in orange and blue this year, that he would have provided any more wins.
No, absolutely not. And you also have to look, Von Miller wouldn't have been nearly as productive. He wouldn't have 7 sacks or 9 sacks in his final 7 games. Nowhere close to that.
He didn't do anything comparable to that stretch during any of his time with Vic Fangio.
No, so it wouldn't have happened. Not only would the Broncos not have any more wins than they did, Von Miller wouldn't have been the productive player he was out there in Los Angeles. So I'm with
Also,
you, Zach. I don't agree with that.
3 or 4 more wins, and Vic Fangio's coming back for another
He
year.
is, and then Von Miller is probably not happy with his role here.
Yeah. So, look, I get it. If he would have played as well as he played for the Rams, then yes, he would have won the Broncos games. But there's no evidence that he was going to do that.
Yep, I completely agree.
Final one here from Sir James says, as 3 men, or 2, depending on the line we're throwing out today, who have traveled the nation, we need to know, is New York-style pizza better than Chicago-style pizza? This isn't even a fight. New York-style pizza is way better.
That's exactly where I was going. New York style is so good. The extra thin crust.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
big slice,
Yep.
thin crust.
Yep.
That's pizza as it should be, in my
Right.
opinion.
I totally
That
agree.
is not to say, though, that Chicago-style pizza isn't good. In fact, we had a big conversation about this at the office yesterday. Words were said. People were yelling. You could
Everyone's
probably
still on the
you
staff?
could probably guess who was yelling. Actually, there's 2 options, but it was Andre.
Yep, of course.
And he was just really, going after Chicago-style pizza as just an affront to pizza. And that's not right. New York-style pizza is the best pizza, bar none, hands down. Chicago-style pizza, also delicious. it's just not something that you can eat all the time.
Coming from an Italian, though, I see why he's offended by the thought that someone would create Chicago-style pizza.
Chicago-style pizza is really good.
It is.
It's just not in the same class. New York-style pizza is in a class of its own.
Yep, it is. It's the best.
It is the best. Great question. And great show.
Yeah, I loved it.
This was fun. Thank you to everyone in the comments.
Absolutely.
Hit us with a like on your way out. Also, you're going to want to subscribe. I talked about Ryan Green joining the team. Just the content on the YouTube channel is only going to get better and better. So become a subscriber of the YouTube channel. Hit us with that thumbs up. Continue rolling in those 5-star reviews on iTunes. We really appreciate those. We thank you guys so much for tuning in. And on our way out of here, just want to give a shout out to Green Mountain Dental Group, where you can schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam and get a free Sonicare toothbrush. We talk a lot about food here. You got to keep those teeth nice and pearly and white, no matter what you eat, no matter what you drink. So check out our friends over at Green Mountain Dental and have them take care of you. They treat you like family because they're part of our family. They're part of the DNVR family. They supported us for a long time, just like you guys. So go check them out. Again, thank you to everyone who tuned in, and we'll be right back here, same time, same place tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.